Yo, Jett had a 100% pick in the first strike grand finals. She must be really good if all the pros are picking her, said every silver player ever. What's up, ProGuides fam? My name is Tia, and have you ever watched a professional match or even a streamer play a certain agent and think, wow, this agent is really good, I'm going to play that agent, and then proceed to drop 4 kills, not know how to use your utility, and cause your team to lose? Yeah, I'm not speaking from my own experience, but if you have, you're not alone. Yeah, so on a completely unrelated note, let's talk about 6 agents that are OP in pro play, but in solo queue, not so much. Disclaimer here before we start, all agents can be viable depending on the skill level you're playing at and as well as the coordination with your teammates. Even though we might have your character on the list and you feel really personally attacked or offended, just hear us out real quick and let us know if you agree with us or not. And while you're at it, why not answer our question of the day as well? Fitting for this video, I wanted to ask you guys, what is one agent you love watching gameplay for, but you think that if you played them it wouldn't work out? Either due to mechanics, game knowledge, I don't know. Whatever it is, let me know. For me, it's actually a character on this list, so I'll be mentioning it later. Stay tuned and comment if you agree with me on my pick. First up on the list, Mr. Thunder. Rolling Thunder. Yeah, it's going to be the Initiator Breach. He's a great choice to start things off because we all know his potential in games. But just due to the lack of coordination or communication, things just don't work out the way we want them to sometimes. Breach requires a lot of setup and execution in order to make things work, and in a solo queue game, you shouldn't be expecting a ton of that. We saw Breach picked up quite a bit in First Strike with his highest map usage being split at 74%, and for good reason. He's an absolutely fantastic pick in a well-coordinated team. But on Split specifically, due to the angles he can clear with his flash and ability to deter enemies with fault line, he is a menace. For example, on A main, it's so incredibly difficult to push into a breach with full utility, as the enemy will be stuck looking at a white screen for an eternity. He's also great on offense, paired with agents that have mobility like Raze or Jett. To be able to flash your teammates is a very powerful tool that puts a lot of the pressure on the site defenders, and if they slip up even a little bit and get flashed, they are done for. Pro teams practice their execution to be meticulous so they know all the best angles and timings. In addition, they also have fantastic game sense to know how to adjust to the situation. Your normal average solo queue breach most likely wouldn't know to adjust to different scenarios, probably doing the same flash at the same angle every time. They may not clear angles with their aftershock, target common operator angles with their fault line, or possibly flash the entire team running into sight, a solo queue classic. So while Breach, again, has so much potential to help a team with his utility, he requires a lot of coordination so that the teams are able to achieve something with it, like taking space or getting kills. There will always be teammates that aren't on the same page, like when you flash in and they just stand there and wait for you to go. That's frustrating. Again, not to say don't pick Breach in solo queue, but the level of success varies a lot again due to having random teammates every time. Breach isn't the only initiator on this list though. Next up is going to be Daddy SOVA. Hopefully to none of your surprise. We all seen what SOVA can do when you master him. There are tons of pro players and streamers that demonstrate how effective his kit is and how knowledge is so important to winning games. However, not many people want to put in the time and effort to know 500 million lineups just for you to die first every round. You probably should have been practicing your aim at that time. SOVA is one of those characters you really have to master and grind out to be fully effective. You really can't just pick him up on the spot and play him effectively. He provides so much value to a team, and whenever I have a good SOVA player on my team, it's always a treat. The info he obtains with Aldrone and Recon help clear important areas of the map with ease and puts the enemy team in a really bad position if they do get pinged. But again, you really need to know how to utilize these. If you just shoot random normal arrows, they can get shot down pretty fast, essentially rendering them useless. And if the teammates don't follow up and process that information, your efforts will fully be in vain. That is why you see SOVA almost at 100% pick rate over the past few months in pro play. He's one of those agents you need for his info gathering and pick potential with his ultimate. Oh yeah, getting free kills with Shock Dart is so satisfying as well, especially on those poor souls that have to plant the spike. SOVA mains be licking their lips. You haven't been seeing much of SKYE lately, right? After her initial release, her hype died down pretty hard. I rarely see a SKYE nowadays. Again, it is kind of an initiator thing in the solo queue, and also her flash is a little tricky to learn. Without proper coordination, it's pretty hard to get the full value out of this agent. Like, her whole kit is actually amazing, but you just need too much team play and it's harder to 1v9 like you can with either Jett or Reyna. Everybody just loves insta-locking duelists. Her skill set for a team does it all. From flashing to scouting, and she also can heal everybody to full in a radius? Ridiculous. Well, at least on paper. Most of the time in solo queue, you'll be flashing your own teammates and hearing an earful afterwards. But on the bright side, her ultimate is at least easy to use, as you only have to hit one button and it gives you free info where 3 enemies are playing. No margin for error there, I think. I mentioned Breach and SOVA earlier, right? Well, SKYE kinda does both of their roles, including heal, so you know this agent is good. In the recent JBL Valorant tournament, she was only picked 3 times, but has a 100% win rate. She's so versatile with what a team needs, and I can definitely see her being very meta in the year 2021, at least in pro play. I really do want to see more creative plays utilizing her Flash and Wolfie. Hey, it's finally not an initiator. It's a Sentinel, and it's going to be KILLJOY. As most of you know, Sentinels got heavily nerfed in patch 111, where now you really have to be mindful of not dying, otherwise your equipment pretty much deactivates, rendering them useless. Sentinels were a little overwhelming and snowballed defense really hard at times, so I don't disagree with the nerfs. However, since the change, Sentinel players now have to up their game. There's definitely more thinking involved and as well more risks, as deaths are now more heavily punishing. Ideally, Killjoys want to play pretty patiently and use her utility to gather information and deny area for the enemy team, stalling them waiting for teammates to rotate. In a solo queue game, however, you just want to peek through, right? Like, come on, you don't want to just wait in a corner and hide forever. That's not you. You want to get on the fun. Then you peek and die and your alarm bot shuts down as well as your turret. Ah, I miss those days when your turret was still active when you died. It was an insane info gathering tool. Now, 1, you have to be in range of your equipment, and 2, you can't die for them to be active. Also, I wanted to add, your ultimate, lockdown as well. You have to coordinate a team towards the site you want to go and not have them push in too early. There's like this little sweet spot about 5 seconds before the lockdown initiates where it's the perfect time to go in when the enemies are about to run away. In solo queue, teammates might not care to come with you or not understand when to go in or even not want to go in first. Her ultimate is very dependent on team play for success. That's why you see lockdown as a very powerful tool in competitive tournaments. It's great for forcing enemies to come to you or make them completely give up sight and have to play retake. It's a very powerful tool for both attacking and defending as well. Normally on defense, it forces the enemy to do a 180 and hit the other site instead. Last thing too, now that you have to be in range of your alarm bot and turret, it's significantly harder to watch flanks with your utility as you have to be mindful of where you are. You might be tied down to that radius and maybe can't help your team as much as you'd like. And of course, I have to put the other Sentinel in here as well, CYPHER. Again, I have to mention Sentinels are not everybody's style. If you force people to play CYPHER just because, they will not do very well. CYPHER has a lot of little nuances to understand and is generally the backbone of defense, meaning you're expected to hold down a site. And how do you do that? You need to really understand how to mix up trapwire spots, experiment with spy cam spots, and also how to play around your cyber cage. The biggest thing about CYPHER is knowing how to use the cam. Just like with SOVA, information is key. If you know there's nobody near your site and you relay that information, you have a very high chance of winning. If you place it in the same spot every time and get it shot down, you can still win the round, just you'll be very blind for 45 seconds until your cam comes back. You should also be in a spot to grab the camera to rotate quickly. Having your spy camera on retake is very nice to clear those close corners. Forcing enemies to shoot at it and also getting an enemy ping is helpful. CYPHER is a great pick that seems easy to play at first, but it's because the pros make it look like that. A great CYPHER completely changes a game on the defensive side. Who's the last agent for the list, you're wondering? Who could it be? It's JETT. Of course it's JETT. Have you ever seen pro players pop off with this character? You probably have seen clips of Wardell or Tens, right? They peek, kill, and dash if they're in trouble. It looks way too easy, so you decide to pick her. You peek and instantly get one-tapped. Not as easy as it looks. As we see the meta develop, the best agent to use the operator is JETT. We all know how powerful the operator is, so paired with a mobile agent like JETT, it takes the weapon to another level. That's why all professional teams need a proficient JETT player if they need the operator for a map. She's good on every map as there's always use for an operator, but you need to get to that point, and sometimes you can't build the economy up because you and your team just keep dying. The reason we have her on the list is very self-explanatory. Having a good Jett player is just random if you aren't somebody like Wardell. You'll never know if you'll be useful or not, just because of the mechanical ability consistency required to play her. If you're not mechanically better than the enemy, it'll be very difficult for your team to win. Just like with Reyna, and if you were always better, you'd probably be Radiant, right? Both Reyna and Jett don't have much utility to do things like hold sight or get information, so they rely on being aggressive and taking duels for information. If you win those duels, great. If not, tough luck. You're probably being useless. We always get entranced by the positives we see by agents played by the pros, but in solo queue, there will always be times where teamwork or mechanics are not consistent. Keep in mind, even if a character you play is on the list, don't be disheartened. And if you really need more help learning an agent, go check out ProGuides.com, where you can find a wonderful, knowledgeable coach that is willing to help you out. That'll be the end of our video. If you enjoyed, do the usual. Hit us with the sub, the like, and the comment. I'm Tia, and I'll catch you guys around.